Ladies and gentlemen, it is April the 10th at 6:15, and this is a meeting of the Financial Committee. First of all, I would like to thank the committee for being here. And we'll start tonight with a request from Chief Barber. He wanted to replenish the cap improvement line. They used $31,771.89 in order for the engine purpose. And there was only $35,000 there to begin with. So he wanted to replenish this line. And we talked to Mr. Taylor today, and he assured us that there is money to pop that back up there. So is there any discussion at this time?
Is the truck's fixed, right? It's done?
It's done. We have, all the repairs are completed. We've been tracking down antifreeze leaks on the truck since the second week we got it back. They're coming down tomorrow to possibly change the part.
Nice. Is that included with your initial repair, or is that add-on?
They did not replace the water pump. It was an in-frame overhaul of the engine block.
Right.
So the water pump was not changed out. I believe it looks like they changed the gasket, inspected the pump, and put the pump back on. So we have a tech coming down in the morning, and they're gonna bring what they have, to come down to their part and work on it. All that's covered under the warranty from the repair.
Good deal.
If we had no objections,
I have a question
I'm sorry.
For Taylor.
Yep.
Where is the funding coming from?
Yeah, so this will be the 600 fund. It's called the Capital Improvement Fund. There's a line item in there set aside. Well, there's 3 set aside for fire. One of them is called Fire Department Equipment. We actually moved funds from one of the fire department equipment to make it as big as it is now to afford the repair. And the Capital Improvement Fund is set aside for projects with a lifespan of 5 years or longer. So since the warranty on this was at least 5 years, and the truck's life, of course, is longer than 5 years, that's how it's justified for that.
How big is that fund?
It stands at today, no, just kidding, March 31st. I gave you today's number. March 31st's number was 178,679, so 178,000. It looks like it's only changed by a few $100 since the 31st. Which is about the range. It usually runs in about the 200,000 range, a little bit more higher, lower sometimes.
Good, thanks.
Yep. Oh, and I should have added, it's usually City Hall, Police, and Fire, because it's funded by the income tax. Utilities usually comes from utilities. So.
Do we have, I need to separate into because it's fine. Do we still have ARPA funds?
We do.
How much do you know?
Almost, so 288,000. So that's basically the second tranche from last year. It has, as far as I can remember, we have not spent $1 since the Fed sent the second batch because they made it stricter. They made us, if you guys remember, you passed legislation mirroring federal requirements, which had been beefed up.
Which I believe that can be reimbursed to salaries. I think
Yeah, but they use the state, right?
I don't know.
They
Yeah,
use state
that's-
ARPA funds, something with the governor's office.
Yeah.
But you're right, yes, there was something like that.
Anybody else on the council? Ladies and
No.
gentlemen, do you have any questions or comments? Thank you. Then I believe that we will send this on to the council for an okay.
Bring it through on an ordinance, yeah.
Okay. Thank
Who
you.
writes the ordinance?
And information gets sent to Bob Toy, and he, if they have numbers, and he writes the ordinance and sends it through the next legislation.
So we don't have to word any, there's no special wording that.
And Taylor will get all the account numbers and stuff to, and send it to him. They'll compose the ordinance.
Fees still run.
Okay, all right, anything
Okay, our second agenda here tonight is to discuss the possibility of an increase in Fire Chief Barber's salary. And I'd like to start with an open, anybody want to make comments?
I would like to make a comment, or, so when it was brought up in, the Police and Fire Committee about, raising, Chief Barber's salary to 75,000. At the time, I was city manager, so, if you kind of go back and look at, the charter, you know, the employees that report to the city manager is responsible for, compensation, raises, and I feel like, I would like to propose, because there was some discussion around the IT stipend, being converted to, Harry's, normal salary, so he can get a pension paid on that. And then, I would like to take, another step where we, after we convert the IT stipend to salary, I have an opportunity to do a performance review with Harry. And then based on the performance review, I'd like to come back to, the finance committee and make a recommendation on, an increase.
So you're saying that you're just going to take care of the stipend and not add any additional money at this time?
Well, I would like, to have an opportunity, since I've only been in the role for a short time, to evaluate Harry's performance. I know he's been here for a long time, and he and I can sit down and kind of tick off his track record. I also I wanted to verify with Taylor, you know, that, you know, when we make these kind of increases that weren't necessarily budgeted, that they still will fall within the budget that we have set aside for compensation. So, and I don't know if you're prepared to comment on that. But that's still not going to change kind of the two-step process that I want to go through.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you wanted me to have those numbers tonight,
Yeah,
because I thought it was across the board, but,
right. Well, we want to do across the board too. We got to look at the big picture.
but, I mean, definitely tomorrow. I just didn't come tonight.
So, so I guess I'm in favor of, since he's already been paid it's already built into his compensation, the IT stipend. Let's convert that to a salary for him. So now he's getting the benefit of pension
Paid on that money.
paid on that money.
That sounds like a smart thing to do. It's the start, I mean, it's already there.
We'll need to have legislation to change that stipend, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And how long does that take? I mean, it's not going to change what he's getting paid
No,
now.
correct,
just-
but it'll add the benefit
You'll have to
to that.
have to speak to Bob on that
Right.
and get that drawn up the correct way, and get the account numbers.
Usually any legislation just takes at the next meeting,
The next meeting,
Yeah.
so usually less than 2 weeks.
So I guess I would also like to propose in the finance committee, and I don't know if this is the right forum, or, you know, maybe it's the council meeting that we're gonna have afterwards, but I think from talking, I apologize, Harry, didn't get a chance to look at the job description. And was there a salary band in there for the fire chief?
There was a three-step rate for the fire chief and police chief, but that has since been stepped out.
I mean, there was a three-step what?
There was a three-step rate
from 1994, I think it was, whenever it was initially started, correct?
Well, it was recent within the last, within the last 5 years, but it's been stepped out, so the compensation because the Me Too 2% raises and stuff like that, that's already been exceeded.
Right, so I think we also need to propose looking at salary ranges, bands for the department heads, but where appropriate, any other employees, so that, we're not going, exceeding those thresholds by, increases in compensation due to inflation or Me Too raises. I think right now, for the police chief, it's set as a range. I think it's just on job spec only. It's not necessarily in an ordinance, but it's, it's specified as 55 to 75.
Yeah, that police chief salary was raised for Fitch. That was a specific.
Right.
That was a specific action for a specific person.
So what you're proposing then, if I understand this correctly, is that the moment you're converting the IT to salary, the IT stipend to salary,
Well,
so that
as soon as we
it's a-
can, if it requires legislation, then I guess we'll have to put an ordinance in to take out that stipend
okay,
and then
put it back
convert
in.
it, and hopefully we can get it done
By the next meeting.
by the next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
That won't be an issue.
right,
And then following that, are you going to you're looking at,
then, in the meantime, Harry and I can get together and, review, his history, his performance, and then I would come back with a recommendation on another raise.
okay, thank you.
No, and what you just said, is there going to be a length of time involved?
Well, it would just, then I'd have to, bring it to the next Wednesday. How often do the finance committees meet?
As needed.
Oh, as needed, so we would probably, as soon as, I feel like time's right, we'll have another finance committee meeting, and I guess then it would have to go to another, no, does it have to go to an ordinance, or does this,
Yes.
so?
So Harry, did you receive a 2% increase at the first of the year?
Whatever the administrators received the 2%, that was the same for mine.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a 2% increase so far for 2023.
Yeah, so whatever the union members get the 2% cost of living,
Okay,
the department has to get the Me Too.
right, okay.
Joanne, did you have a question?
So it wouldn't be the meeting that's coming tonight, obviously, because we don't have
The
enough
next
figures.
one.
But it could be as early as the next council meeting.
Yes.
That everything would be taken care of. Correct?
Well, no, it would be the next meeting would be the next meeting, and I'm not telling Dave, I'm not getting into day-to-day operations, but from what I understand from what Mr. Rowland said is hopefully by the next meeting, we'll have legislation converting the $8,000 into normal wages so
Okay.
that he can get paid on retirement. And then he's gonna have some meetings with Harry, do an evaluation, and then he's gonna come back to police and fire, and then to finance, and then to council.
So the earliest would
Oh,
be.
okay, so does it have to go through, police and fire?
That's what it starts with. Yeah.
Okay, even though they've already made the recommendation, take them up to,
It's transparency just to go through.
Right.
I mean, that's what I would say you do, just.
all right, so we could do a police and fire.
Yeah, you can do one after another.
One after another,
Yeah.
and get it done. We're all learning here,
Yep,
I'm not saying we all have this.
yeah, but you can do one after another.
Right,
You can have
Thank you very
16
much.
meetings all night.
huh?
You can have, we had what, 10 meetings?
Yeah, we did like
Five.
almost every committee.
We did every committee meeting in one night.
Yeah.
And you
That
can
was
do-
outstanding.
And you
It
can
was.
do that, you
It
can
was.
do it that way, and that way everything ties all together.
Who calls all those meetings in one night?
The individual council heads, the individual committee heads, and basically we all got together and decided on a night, and we called them all that one night and scheduled them, I think, 20 minutes apart, 20 or 25 minutes apart. And it worked out perfect.
Great.
So if I could, real quick, I just wanted to make sure, so the council recognizes the legislation when it comes forward on the stipend, making sure that it's pensionable The pension specifically objected to the fact that it was the job description segregated duties between IT work and actual fire work. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that when you see that legislation changing the pay category, it will be involving the description. We have to make sure the pension doesn't object as far as when you guys change that. So I just want to make sure that when the legislation, whenever they work on it, that it actually accomplishes what we're trying to do. Am I making
So
any
we're gonna
sense?
change the job description to not include
Right.
IT.
Right, making sure that the pay is attached to duties as fire chief, which
Not
is
as IT.
pensionable.
Yes.
Because the pension objected in writing, I mean, not objected, I'm just saying, they said that in writing, this is what the holdup was. So I wanna make sure that we don't pass something, go to them, and then they're like, hey, you guys didn't change what we said to change. I just wanna make sure that you guys know,
I'm sorry, who is good to them?
the pension, Ohio
Oh,
Police and
okay,
Fire.
all right.
Yes, Ohio Police and Fire. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else would like to speak tonight?
Okay, so we're done with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a question. What's the current income tax split between general and capital?
Good question. So since 21, maybe, December 21, it's been 88% general fund, 2% Parks and Rec 300 fund, which is for pool repairs.
Right.
And 10 to the 600 capital improvement.
Which is a great improvement over, it was 95.5 there a few years. It was
I think it was,
95.5.
I think it was 100-0 a couple of years.
Yeah.
When the city really struggled.
So the 88% was to
General fund.
general fund.
Yep.
So is there gonna be other discussion about other department heads such as, the sewer plant director? When the new treatment plant comes online, what, $18 million plant?
Yeah, that's Sean, if I remember right, correct? That's Sean.
That's gonna be a whole lot more responsibility.
Right, so,
That's what he was talking about, reviewing across the board.
yeah, we're going across the board, but since this was a discussion today, so I wanna make sure.
Well, I think when the time comes, it should be a complete overview, not just one.
Right. Yeah, and, you know, as, Tony mentioned, should I be calling you by your last name? You're fine, okay. Just wanna make sure I'm following that.
He's been called a lot.
Yeah. Longer ones and shorter.
What was I saying? I just lost my-
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, so when it comes to the police chief's salary for whoever we may, put in that position, you know, I'm gonna stick with, you know, a salary band and not just bring somebody in all the way up to the top, because then we'll be out of the salary band the very next year if there's some sort of cost adjustment. So I mean, that's why I gotta make sure with Taylor, you know, what can we realistically do, keep the finances in order and not max out every salary band. The same would be true for Jason. I don't even know if read that job spec yet, if there's a salary band for him.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a great idea. Right.
That's all I have.
I'm good.
Anybody else? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in tonight and listening to us. And thank you, Ward, for being here also.
Thank you.
We're gonna cut this off at 6:34.